Since making his return at WrestleMania 38, Cody Rhodes has had one goal in mind: to win the WWE Championship for his father. The title Dusty could never win. It was what he said on the Raw after WrestleMania last year. The next 365 days were quite the journey for him. He continued his excellent feud with Seth Rollins for a couple more matches. Unfortunately, he suffered a serious injury right before his Hell in a Cell match. Rhodes tore his pec right off the bone. This would require surgery and months of rehab. But before that, he still entered the brutal match with Seth Rollins. The American Nightmare revealed the bruise that left the audience speechless. Despite all of it, he persevered through the match and defeated his rival. At the next night on Raw, Rhodes headed straight into the hospital for surgery, and then after that, it was another 8 months of daily physical therapy and rehab. Cody Rhodes made his grand return after some inspiring promo packages at the Royal Rumble and came out victorious. The nightmare was coming to an end and the dream was becoming a reality. Cody Rhodes was more than ready for Roman Reigns and his main event championship match at WrestleMania 39. The night was special. The people wanted nothing more than to see the uncrowned become crowned. Cody's entrance was a sight to see. I've never heard a crowd like that. Everyone was screaming "whoa" at the top of their lungs. His daughter Liberty was there rooting for him. John Huberman's son was also there in attendance. Brody was even given the weight belts. It seemed like it was truly his moment. Throughout the match, he put on one hell of a fight. At the very end, it seemed like he was going to get the job done, but he didn't. After a Samoan spike and a spear, the referee counted 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes lost. He laid there looking depressed. More importantly, fans were disappointed. In what seemed like the perfect moment, WWE did not pull the trigger. It seemed like everything he did in the past year was done for nothing. The return, the promise, the injury, the win, the recovery, and the Rumble were nothing more than some chapters told in a story of a failure. In the post-conference, Triple H said that this was the beginning of his story and that we're going to have to wait to see it unfold. To make matters even worse for him, Brock Lesnar annihilated and obliterated Cody Rhodes, and so this begs the question, did WWE bury Cody Rhodes? No, WWE did not bury Cody Rhodes with this loss. The word buried is actually thrown around way too much in the internet wrestling community. Some fans believe that Sami Zayn was buried last year after losing his WrestleMania match to Johnny Knoxville. A year later, and Sami was main eventing with his best friend in one of the hottest stories of that show. Wrestling fans said that AJ Styles was buried when Chris Jericho defeated him at WrestleMania 32. However, later that year, he beat John Cena and eventually became the WWE Champion. And when Austin Theory failed his Money in the Bank cash-in, people said that his career was over since WWE buried him. But a few months later, he changed his entire character for the better and is currently the US Champion who just defeated John Cena at WrestleMania. It's clear that the word buried is a word that has lost its meaning. True definitions of burials would be Bray Wyatt losing to Randy Orton at WrestleMania 37. WWE completely ruined that character before that. For example, Seth Rollins and the Hell in a Cell stuff pissed off a lot of fans. People were very unhappy with that decision, but ultimately, the WWE made it up by having him win the World Championship a month later. Then, they almost buried him again when Goldberg, of all people, beat him within minutes for the Universal Championship. That was tough, but at the end of the day, he did defeat John Cena at WrestleMania 36 and then recaptured the Universal Championship. But at WrestleMania 37, Bray Wyatt desperately needed that win. It made zero sense for Orton to light him on fire and then beat him months later at WrestleMania. The character never recovered, and WWE also felt like they didn't even need to keep him anymore. They released him later that summer. While he did return and had the opportunity to turn his career around, that loss buried the Fiend character. That was a moment that completely ruined any momentum for that character to the point of its death. So when you look at Cody Rhodes and his huge loss, you ask the question, did WWE bury him? And the answer is just no. Sure, they missed out on a great moment with a hot crowd who desperately wanted to see Roman Reigns lose and Cody Rhodes to win. And yes, Brock Lesnar annihilated him the next night on Raw, but that doesn't mean he's buried. It really depends on what happens next. If WWE can create a compelling story over the next whatever months to a year, then it might be worth it. It could even be greater. The WWE could end up making a victory for Cody Rhodes that is much sweeter. Or maybe it could just be alright. That obviously would not be a burial if he does end up being the champion. However, it would suck to know that they missed out on a better opportunity. Or maybe the worst possible outcome is that Cody Rhodes just never wins the championship. That could be considered a burial. Ultimately, it's really up to WWE's future plans and their commitment with Cody Rhodes. I personally trust Triple H though. His work with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline was phenomenal. The Rey and Dom story was excellent as well and made their WrestleMania bout feel even more special. I think Triple H is capable of creating a bigger moment for Cody Rhodes, or at least I hope. I'll choose to remain optimistic and positive, but at the end of the day, nobody can predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen. In a year from now, we're going to have a much better picture. That is when we can actually answer the question. But for now, Cody Rhodes is definitely not buried. You can't have him in the biggest match of his career, enter a program with Brock Lesnar right after, be the #1 babyface in pro wrestling, and the #1 merchandise seller. If you're buried, he is far from it. With all that being said, I'd like to provide a fantasy booking for Cody Rhodes. There's been some clips going around showing a good amount of fans expressing some joy when Roman Reigns won at WrestleMania, and why wouldn't they? Roman is at the top of his game. He's got one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling in Paul Heyman. He's got the greatest tag team of all time with him, the Usos, and he's got the next big thing in Solo Sikoa. This has a mafia vibe to it, and he's got the mafia boss aura to him. It's cool to like him, it really is. Because of that, the WWE needs to tell a story of Roman Reigns losing the bloodline through his own actions. When he mistreats the group, fans will begin to not like him either. We need a 2020 Thunderdome Roman Reigns version to come out. That man was sick, vicious, and manipulative. The things he did to his family were traumatic. This will be because of his obsession with beating Bruno's record. That involves a faction nearly costing him matches and costing him some tag team matches as well. And the bloodline begins to notice. So, for example, let's head over to War Games 2023, and that is when Team Cody defeats the bloodline. Cody Rhodes will pin Jey Uso, and that pisses off Roman Reigns. He does not want any losses to be associated with his name. Roman Reigns demands Solo and Jimmy to beat up Jey. Jimmy stops Solo before Roman Reigns screams and forces Solo to do so, while Jimmy just walks away crying, and this will be a reflection of the Royal Rumble of this year. It shows that this man will not only hurt Sami Zayn, but he will hurt his own family. The complete opposite of what Cody would do, because Cody loves his dad, he loves his family. Eventually, Cody Rhodes will come back to save Jey Uso from that beatdown. And one by one over the next few months, Cody Rhodes will get the bloodline to leave Roman Reigns because he will show them what true family is. He'll show them what true love is. Cody teaches them about the core values, respect, and like I said, love. Something the tribal chief lacks. Near WrestleMania time, Cody Rhodes even gets Heyman to leave him. And at WrestleMania 40, Roman is utterly alone after pushing everyone away. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes is back. He's stronger than ever, full of love, with his family cheering him on. You see, this Roman Reigns storyline is all about family and love, and you've got to tell the story that Roman Reigns doesn't know what that is and Cody does, and what family and love does, it perseveres us to pick ourselves up and win at the end of the day. That is what family is for, and that is when Cody will end the title reign. This loss will humble Roman Reigns and make him reflect his behavior and start his redemption arc. That is how to book Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 2 at WrestleMania 40. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.